In this video, we're going to show you how to install the CV axle on your Subaru Legacy located behind your rear wheels. Using a thin wall 19mm socket, we're going to go ahead and loosen and remove our lug nuts here. Our particular vehicle has a locking key on it, so we're going to go ahead and remove this. Go ahead and grab that wheel, remove it, and set it aside. Now with the wheel removed, we now want to go ahead and access the two bolts holding our caliper and bracket to the knuckle area. Now we're going to use our 14mm socket and our extension. We're going to come through the back side of the knuckle to the lower bolt here on our backing plate. Now we're going to go ahead and loosen that. We are going to go ahead, loosen and remove that completely. Going to remove that bolt right there. Then we're going to move to the upper one, which is up on the back side here. Need to get to that one. Let's go ahead and get that socket in there. Now that's loose. We're going to go ahead and put our power tool on it. Now what's going to happen is when we remove that bolt, the whole caliper and bracket is going to be loose. We want to make sure that we can pull that up aside and secure that up top. We don't want to have this pulling or hanging on this flex hose. Pivot that up top. Make sure that's not going to fall. Remove that bolt. Next, we want to go ahead and remove our brake rotor. Again, work that off and set that aside. Our next step is to loosen and remove the axle nut. This is a 32mm. Make sure that the CV axle is free floating by pushing on this in. You can see that the axle is loose from the splines. For any reason, if this is binding, go ahead and spray inside here with some rust penetrant. Use a punch in the center and then work that with a hammer, smashing that a little bit to go ahead and get that to break free. Now from underneath, we now want to go ahead and remove these 4 bolts. There's 2 on this side here and 2 over here. These are 14mm. Now I'm going to use a swivel socket with an extension to go ahead and get into these here. We did spray them down with some rust penetrant. Let's go ahead and get our last bolt here. I'm going to go ahead and use my hammer, and I'm going to go ahead and bonk on the wheel hub itself to try and get this whole unit to come off. Now this is going to come off with the parking brake shoes and the backing plate. Now just be prepared to catch this. There it is. I'm going to push that axle through. Wiggle that off of the CV axle. I'm going to go ahead and use a securing strap here to go ahead and capture this. I'm going to go ahead and hang this here. That way it's not putting abnormal pressure on our parking brake cable. We're going to use our shallow 10mm socket here, loosen and remove the ABS sensor bolt. I'm going to spray down around our ABS sensor here. We now want to go ahead and grab this here and try and twist it out. Go ahead and use a pair of pliers, and I'm going to come right around the base here. And I'm going to grab it and I'm going to try and twist it. Kind of rock it around a little bit. There it is. Now let's go ahead and line up our axle here and kind of pull that out through the knuckle a little bit. With that in position, I'm going to go ahead underneath. I'm going to get my pry bar right between the differential and the CV axle right here, and just kind of pry it out gently, give it a quick little pop, and there it is. What we should be able to do is grab this here and slide it out. Now you might lose a little bit of differential fluid from that rear diff. And we'll go ahead and slide this out. Now we chose to do it this way here by removing this, opposed to removing all of these bolts, because most of the time these bolts are seized or frozen inside. Much quicker and easier to do it this way. Let's now clean up our knuckle. I'm going to spray this down with some solvent. Then we're going to use our disc here to go ahead and clean up the surfaces. Now you can use a flat file for something like this here for the surface, and you can use a curved file for the inside here. Remember, we're not removing steel, we just need to clean the rust off. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to clean the port where the ABS sensor goes. I'm going to use a round file. You can use a piece of sandpaper on the end of a screwdriver and clean the inside of that. But we just want to make sure that it is clear of any rust, making that port readily accessible for that sensor to slide into nice and easy. Take your axle, kind of slide that in. I want to insert that into the differential. Give that a little bit of a spin. Get those to line up. Basically, we're lining up the splines instead of that rear diff. Now on the outside, we're going to use our mallet. There we go. What we're looking for is for this CV axle here. We're looking for the CV axle to line up and be flush with the seal inside. All right, so we have our hub set through our backing plate. We do have that one bolt on the back side. I'm going to take my socket and extension and feed that through the back side. I'm going to see if I can get that one bolt started. All right, I have one of the bolts started. I'm now going to go ahead and get one of the other ones started, probably the bottom one over here. Doesn't matter which one you get next, but you're going to continue the process. Put the bolt in, try and get it started by hand, and we'll do it for all four of them. Then at that point there, we can go ahead and snug them all down. So we now got all four of our bolts started on the back. I'm going to go ahead and snug those down gently. Let's torque down the bolts to 47 foot-pounds. And just do this for the other two. Go ahead and install the axle nut. And we'll snug that down. I'm going to take a couple lug nuts and I'm going to thread these on. I'm going to spin them down as far as I can go. I want to take a pry bar and put it between the two studs that we just put the lug nuts on. I'm going to go ahead and torque this down to 177 foot-pounds. Now we can go ahead and remove the lug nuts. After we torque the axle nut, you want to go ahead and locate the little notch in the axle shaft itself, and then we're going to go ahead and dimple the edge or the lip of the nut onto that. Now I want to go ahead and apply some anti-seize compound to the face of our hub. Let's go ahead and protect that background there. You're going to take your brake rotor, line that up, and slide that on. Go ahead and take your caliper and bracket, slide that over the rotor. And once we have this in place, we want to go ahead and install the bolts on the back side. I'm going to go ahead and take my bolt on my socket and extension, feed that through, and then I need to position that caliper bracket into place. Get that started. All right, let's go ahead and get that upper bolt started. Gonna do the same thing, get that bolt inside that socket. Feed that up and in, and then adjust this here so you feel that bolt fall in. Now I want to torque these down to 48 foot-pounds. Just going to run these down the rest of the way. Now that we have the hardware torqued, you want to go ahead and install the wheel. Hop into the vehicle, pump up the brakes, make sure that the brake caliper itself closes up nice and tight, and then you're all set to go for a road test. Go ahead and grab your wheel, line that up on the studs, and ideally you want to go ahead and get all of these started by hand, and then we'll come on back and snug them down. Let's go ahead and gently snug these down. I'm going to do this in a crisscross or a star pattern. You want to go ahead and torque down your lug nuts to 88 foot-pounds. Ideally, you want to do this in a crisscross or star pattern. And you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.